In this tutorial, I'm going to go over a surface modeling technique that I call offset and reconnect. And this is where we take part of a surface, move it up or down a little bit with respect to where it originally was, and reconnect it to the original surface to create a little inset or raised portion of a surface. And this can be a useful surface modeling technique to add some details to an object. This object that I'm starting with is just this OXO brush handle, the handle here and the brush head down here. The bristles would be down here. And I'm just going to play around with the handle portion of this model. So the first thing we need to do, notice that we're starting with a solid model here. This whole thing is a single solid body. First thing I need to do is define the region that's going to be inset in this. And I'm going to do that on the top plane because that goes right through the handle here. So I'm going to start a sketch here. I'm going to establish a center line because this is a symmetrical handle. And I'm going to use my spline tool to just draw out a region here. Oops. Like this. Now, one thing that's important is that since this is symmetrical, I need to establish perpendicular relationships for these handles at the top and bottom of the spline. So I'm going to wiggle the handle, control-click on the center line, and add a perpendicular constraint. Same thing down here. Remember, I have to wiggle the handle, control-click on the center line, perpendicular. See how that looks from the top. I'm going to bring this in a bit. Okay, that looks alright. And the last thing I need to do is to mirror that across the center line. Okay, so that does it for our sketch. Now, I'm going to use this sketch to create a split line on the top of the handle, splitting up the surface into these two faces into multiple faces. So we'll do that in the curve commands split line. I'm going to select my sketch as the split tool, and the faces to split are these two here. Now, by default, it would split both upwards and it would project the sketch both upwards and downwards to split the faces both ways, which we don't want in this case. I only want to split the top. So I'm going to click single direction, and we see that this arrow is pointing down by default. I actually want the projection to go up, so reverse direction. Once I do that, the sketch is used to split the top of the handle face and the bottom is left alone. Okay, so this allows us now to select these two faces and offset them. And I'm going to use that, do that using the offset surface tool. Okay. By default, it's offsetting these faces. It's turning them into a surface body and it's offsetting them outwards. I actually want to do a little bit of an inset here. So in order to allow me to see, I'm going to switch to wireframe mode. And I'm going to click the reverse flip offset direction here so that it's going into the body. And I'm going to decrease the amount of the offset to about 1/20 of an inch. I don't want it to be a big effect. Okay. Now the blue surface here, you can see, is this surface body. It is inside the main solid body right now. So if I switch to my normal shaded with edges view, I actually can't see it. So what I have to do is actually delete the original faces now because I'm going to replace them with that offset face. So I'm going to control click these two, and I'm going to use the delete face command. Get rid of these. I don't want to patch or fill it, I just want to delete it. Okay, so now what I've got is basically a hole here in the handle, and and you can see through the hole the offset surface that came from this surface offset feature. Notice also that the entire model is now surface bodies. since I cut that hole and deleted those faces from the original body, the rest of it has been converted to this surface body, and then I've got another surface body, which is this offset face here. So now what I want to do is reattach the offset face to the outside. And this is done using lofts. Now, in this case, an easy loft, it would probably work. Let's try the easy way first. I'm going to loft basically from this upper edge to this lower edge on each side. So let's see if this works. My surface loft tool. I'm going to select this as the first profile, and this is the second profile. Make sure my dots line up properly. And it looks like that's working in this case. And I can do the same thing on the other side, or I could just mirror that over. First profile, second profile. Now it looks like it's, I've got an extra selection there. Okay. So it looks like that worked there. And then just to make sure see, the problem with this simple technique is there's a possibility of a gap being created here, because we didn't explicitly say that this has to be a straight line here. Let's see if this worked. And the way we do that is we now need to take all these surface bodies and convert the whole thing back to a solid using the knit command, or the knit feature. So I'm going to use knit surface. I'm going to select all of our surface bodies, and I'm going to check try to form solid. And in this case it looks like it worked. What happened there is, since those surface bodies fully defined and a fully enclosed volume, it was able to knit them all together and create a single solid body from that. So that's basically what we wanted to do. And I could add some fillets here, or additional little cleanup details. Let's roll back a bit. I'm going to roll back to this point. Let's say that simple loft between here and here for some reason didn't work. It left a little gap or something, or we needed even more control over exactly what this connection looks like. Another way to do this is going to be to draw profiles of what that connection looks like here and here, and loft around the edge of the inset surface using these edges as guide curves. So let's do that. I'm going to use my right plane as the plane to draw my connection profiles on, because it goes right through the center of the brush like this. So let's do this. I'm going to zoom in nice and close here, and I'm going to connect this point with this point. And so perhaps one of the reasons I need to do this is because I want to have a little curvature or something in this kind of like a beveled shape here. So let's add a little bit of curvature like this. Okay. So that's one of the profiles. I have to do the same thing down here now. Right plane, new sketch, connect that point to that point. And I'll add a little curvature again. I'm having trouble seeing the spline handle. Oops. Not sure what happened there. There we go. Just a little bit of curvature like that. There. Okay. So now we've got our two loft profiles. So again, lofted surface. My profiles, they're very small, so I'm going to pick them out of here. Sketch 3 and sketch 4. I need to check and make sure. So the top part of this profile is being mapped to the top part of the second profile. That looks right. And then what's important are these guide curves. Instead of a straight shot loft here, I want them to go around the edge. So I'm going to choose this is my first guide curve, and this is my second guide curve. Now we can see that this profile has been swept around using these two curves as the top and bottom, all the way down to this second profile. And I'm just going to go ahead and mirror that. I'm going to mirror that surface body across the right plane. Okay, so I've got them both there. And now we can do another knit. I'm going to select all the surface bodies, knit feature, try to form solid. There we go. And I'll just do a little fillet inside here. A very, very small fillet. And that's the offset and reconnect surfacing technique.